We're doing a new thing today. So this year I decided I need to have hobbies again. That's all right, go ahead. Anyway, I've been reading a lot. And I read a few books, okay? I read 10 books, I think, which is more than I've read since high school. And it's only March. So, I want to start reading more books, and I want to start, like, drinking more drinks. I will probably continue my tea subscription boxes. I don't know, and I just thought it would be a fun idea to, every month or two, collect myself, and 1, try a new drink, and 2, share all the books that I read in the month, or the 2 month. We'll see how this hobby sticks, because I'm not good at sticking with things. So welcome to the first installment of something that'll come up with a title for later. Today, since I did not start a tea subscription, I am trying a coffee. I'm so scared, actually. You're gonna hear Miles scratching at the door. I can't stop him. One of my dear regulars at my in-person job told me over the weekend that she roasts her own coffee, and I told her I'd love to try it, so she brought me in a sample, and she said it was bourbon roasted coffee. This is the bag she gave me. I gave some to my coworkers, and it just... I wish I could share this smell with you. Just pretend you're smelling this. It smells like only bourbon. I don't smell any coffee in here. So, I brewed us a little cup. I don't know if you can see the steam, maybe? Dang, well it looks cool from here, so. When I was brewing it, I brew pour over, and it was doing this weird bubbly thing. I'll put up a video, maybe, if I took a video. It just brewed really weird, and I'm nervous to try it. But it's almost cool enough. It smells definitely less bourbon-y after I brewed it, but if you handed this to me and you said, hey, this is a cup of coffee, I would not trust you. I would not consume anything else that you ever handed me, ever. Oh my god. We'll get to the books in a minute, I promise. It tastes like bourbon coffee. I don't know what else to say about it. I should have asked her, is there like an alcohol content to this? Honestly, it's kind of good. It might be good, like, iced. I think that would be good iced. I might try that. I'll save some for the summer and we'll revisit it iced. But anyway, on to the books. So the big reason why I've been able to read so many books is because most of them were graphic novels. So I think I'm going to start with the graphic novels, and then there are some nonfiction, and then I'll end with the fiction, because that's the order that I read them in, pretty much. I have them on my notes here, so don't mind me looking everywhere. And since I got them at the library, I do not have the covers to show you anymore, except for a few of them, so I will just put them up here so you can see them. Don't remember the authors either, so whatever, I'll do better next time. So the first one I read, my very first book of the year, was Zodiac Star Force, which I just chose for the cover because it's super cute. I'm not really into zodiacs or anything, but the characters were so cute, and it reminded me of Steven Universe. It was all right. I'm not necessarily into superheroes, but the story was pretty cute. It's like a high school drama, but oh wait, they're zodiac superheroes. And there was a little bit of queer representation in there, and there was a whole thing in the back about the author and about like why they made the comic and what it was for, which was really cute, but it was a good way to kick off my reading. Ooh. The next one I read was Raven. I love anything Raven themed. I used to dress up as Raven and go to school. As a kid, I would act like her with like my hair in the front, and I had like a cloak and be like, everything is death. Hi. She says, Mom, don't more of that emo shit. Yeah, I love anything Raven related, and I think this story is really nice. I don't know how accurate it is to the actual comics. It was very edgy, very nostalgic, and it's a good one for like teenagers to read at like 3 a.m. You know, like I feel like I could see myself opening this and being like, oh, I wish I had her Dark and Dangerous Life. She's so edgy and pretty. Moving on. Oh, I do need to read The Raven Loves Beast Boy, the sequel to that. So that is next on my list actually, but my library doesn't have it. Okay, the next graphic novel I read was like not great. It's called Ghostopolis. This is one where I think if I read it in elementary school, I would have thought it was like the best thing that I've ever read ever. It's about this kid who like gets dragged into the underworld and he has to work with this agent to like get everybody back out of the underworld. And I didn't really care for any of the characters. Probably because most of them were just straight men and half of them were dead. Yeah, the story was alright. That's all I have to say. The art style was also alright. Would not necessarily recommend. Unless it was to like a 10-year-old boy who thought like dead stuff is cool. The next graphic novel I read was Incredible Doom. And it's only the first in a series, I believe, so I do have some more reading to do before I can give a full review. But it's essentially set during the birth of the internet. So it's these teens who are all going through their own shiz, and they discover the internet. They discover like forums and chat rooms and stuff. And they use these to like kind of find their community and message each other and things. It was a few months ago, so I don't remember the exact plot. But I remember actually caring about the characters, which is what you want to have in a good book. So I care about these characters. I want to see where they go next. I'll have to find the other copies. And yeah, it's just a really cute like misfit story. Okay, now the two best graphic novels that I read. The first is Witchlight. Look at this cover. I love this art style so much. And I realized as soon as I picked it up that it's a local author. Kind of. She grew up like in my state, which I'm gonna call a local author. But the art style is so cool. I am so obsessed with this artist now and this art style. If you want to talk about queer representation, it is queer representation, but like in the perfect way where you're not like, oh, this is a story about the suffering of the gays. Like, it's like it's just there. Like it's part of the world. There's no question, there's no like suffering because of, oh my god, I'm so different. And there's like so many different skin tones and face shapes and body shapes and like nose shapes, and there's like body hair in it, and like the characters just like pee behind a bush in one scene. I don't know why, but that was like my favorite scene because it was all just very like cute and representative. I can't really think, it's real. Like it was real, but also like it's set in a magical place. I didn't even tell you what it's about. It's about these two people who fall in love. I'll tell you that. And they go on an adventure. It's set in like some fantasy fictional world, and please read it. Please read it. The author has more books coming out soon, so this is the author's Instagram. All right, next on the graphic novels. This is Kiss Number 8. I picked it up because I wanted a like silly little high school drama thing. That's what I thought it was. But this one took me on such a roller coaster. So it's about this young girl who is in high school, and it tells the story of her first 8 kisses. And it's a story of like finding yourself, which I know that like all queer people have experienced. And not only does it like explore this girl's personal struggles with herself, it explores like her family members and her classmates and just like all of these different people, and all of their stories are different. Or like there was even one point where I was like, is this book like anti-trans? And then I kept reading, and it was just like so well written that it really conveys these struggles in a realistic way, and it's not like sugar-coated really. This whole book brought me to tears in a lot of ways. Please read this book. Please read. The last graphic novel, I still have it because I'm terrible and I have so many library fees right now. The Fire Never Goes Out. This ring light is driving me crazy. A memoir in pictures. And I just liked the cover. It pretty much follows the Tumblr blog of this author. I must have known. This is such a funny, this is a whole thing, let me tell you. I just picked up this book randomly. I didn't read the cover or anything. I didn't even see who the author was. Maybe I did subconsciously. Are we back? The camera decided to die, which was pretty rude if you ask me. While it was charging, I drank more of this. It's kind of growing on me. Maybe? I don't know. I almost drank the whole thing though. Anyway, we were talking about The Fire Never Goes Out. And I was reading this and I was like, oh, you know, her life story is pretty cute. And she kept mentioning all these projects that she was working on as an illustrator and this show. And I get to one of the last pages and I see this book is about the showrunner for She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which is my favorite show. I know I've never mentioned that before, but that is my favorite show of all time. And so I saw that image and I just started crying because I love it and I cry when I love things. And I think that does it for the graphic novels. And now we will move on to nonfiction because I do enjoy some nonfiction. It's a little easier on the brain. So these two nonfiction things that I read are part of a set. I think that's called The School of Life or something. It's How to Be Bored and then How to Stay Sane. They're both written by different people and they're both just like really easy to read, psychology, sociology, little things. They're very insightful. I read them in like a day and a half. And there's a lot of these. It's like a whole series on different topics. And I recommend reading any of them that applies to you. How to Be Bored and I guess I should kind of tell you what they're about. How to Be Bored is kind of like how to exist without your phone or like without constantly stimulating your brain and stuff, which I definitely needed. And How to Stay Sane is more of like kind of like a self-care. It's like therapy light is the best way I can describe it. Yeah, I would recommend both of those. Next on the nonfiction list is Weird, which I really love. I am no stranger to being an outsider, or being called weird to my face, and just being weird in general. She's just kind of quirky. But this is a collection of interviews, kind of, and anecdotes of other people who are weird. It's written by a woman who grew up as a Jewish Russian immigrant in Texas, in like small town Texas. Hello! And she goes and interviews different people who are considered outcasts, whether it's in their job or in their family or anything. And what I like about it is she did interview a few people whose like viewpoints I didn't agree with. And it really made me think that like being different isn't always like good, and it's like, oh, it's good to be different. It's good when no one else believes what you believe, because like sometimes you're just like on the wrong side of history is how I'll put it. Okay, now we are on to the last two, which are these. I didn't know if I could actually make it through like a whole narrative, like nonfiction novel. No, fiction novel. I always get fiction and nonfiction messed up. I didn't know if I could make it through a whole fiction novel, but I did. I made it through two. This first one, The Survivors. This is actually translated from, I believe, Swedish. It recounts, okay, the thing I love about this one is the time, like how time works in this one. So it tells the story of these three brothers who grew up at this like cabin by the lake over the summer. Each chapter switches. So it starts off in present time to the three brothers as adults coming back to the cottage. So it's told in present time, but it's kind of like a Memento where it starts at like 10 p.m. that night. And then there's a chapter from their childhood from like their perspective. And then it goes back to present time, but present time goes backwards. So it'll be like 10 p.m. present time, childhood, 8 p.m. present time, childhood, 11 a.m. that morning, present time, childhood. And the twist at the end, so sick. It's disgusting. Honestly, don't read this if like death and things gets to you, but the twist is so good. I will always remember the twist of this book, and I wanted to tell people about it, but I couldn't just like excitedly tell people about this disgusting, like awful thing that happened in this book, because the tone would not match the excitement, but the writing, the twist is so good, that's all I'll say. And last but not least, this book that ruined me over the last few days, which is Her Here by Amanda Dennis. This is one of those books where you read and like, and you like lose yourself in reality, I know you can lose yourself in many books, but this is one of those books where you read it and then like you take a break and like go to work or like go do some shopping and you're like thinking about the characters in your head and you're like, oh, I wonder what they're up to, and like you like have a crush on like a character, like they're a real person, or like you're friends with a character, like you're a real person in your head, and that just takes up so much of your headspace. That is what this book is. I realized that I stopped reading because I get so lost in narratives and lost in the world of books that I can't function. I literally had to take some time off work the day that I finished this because I was like, I can't focus. Like, this is not my life. I don't, working here? What is this? Who am I? I don't have a name. My name is the character in this book. But anyway, this book is about a young woman around my age who is tasked with reading the journals of this woman the same age of her as her who went missing. And so she has to read these journals and come up with a narrative of like what this woman experienced to try to find her, because the people who are trying to find her don't think that she is dead. So she has to put her mind into this person just through her like very intimate journal entries. The writer in the story, as well as the writer of the journals in the story, they both have a very loose grip on reality, and I guess reality is a big buzzword for this one. They really have struggles with mental illness, so you kind of like fall into this insanity in this like reality shift with the author and the character and the other, you know, it's a whole thing. So anyway, if you have like a good weekend where you can just like disassociate into stories that aren't your own, this is a good one. If you have a very loose grip on reality like I do, maybe not, maybe take some time, maybe take care of yourself after you read this. That is all of the books that I read in January and February of 2022. The ones that I would recommend, again, are like the School of Life books. I think those are really nice. Her Here, amazing. I don't think many people will understand it, as well as us mental illness baddies out here, but very good read. And finally, for the graphic novels, especially for the queer audience, or anyone who is not queer and just wants to like take on some queer media, which I very much recommend you do. Kiss Number 8, so good, very touching, will make you cry. And then Witchlight for those of you who love like fantasy. That is it. Thank you for hanging out with me. I know it was kind of chaotic because I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this series, but in another month or two I will have a brand new drink to try, and I will have hopefully some more books. Maybe less, maybe more, probably less. Probably less. So if this is a series that you're interested in, subscribe so that you can see the next one. Like this video so that more like it show up in your feed, and comment. What are we gonna comment today? If you have read anything in January and February of this year, tell me what your favorite thing that you read was. Tell me a little bit about it. Tell me why you loved it so much. I love complaining, so write about the worst thing that you read this month. I don't know. Maybe I will read some of your suggestions in the months to come. So thank you for spending your time with me. Bourbon coffee is so weird. I think that will be it for today. This is like the worst smell in the world, blowing out a candle. Oh god, it smells so strongly. I heard that it wasn't as elegant as I thought it was gonna be, but anyway, bye. I will see you next time.